Now, if you thought that learning a language was a great idea but too much effort, you might want to think again. What we know about language learning is that it can happen even when you don't make an effort. Let me explain. There are hundreds and thousands of words in the English language, and to memorise them one by one is quite simply impossible. What's more, there are hundreds and thousands of different elements that make up English grammar. It doesn't matter how hard you work, you're never going to be able to learn more than a tiny proportion of them. But for the sake of argument, let's just imagine that by some miracle of effort you managed to memorise all that vocabulary and grammar. It still wouldn't be much use to you because your brain can't access all that stored information fast enough for you to be able to use it in fluent communication. The hard effort of memorising is a great way of adding new building blocks to language, or for structuring and correcting details of the language you already know. But it's surprisingly inefficient as a learning tool compared to the unconscious learning we do every day of our lives. So we need to think about how language learning is most efficient, and we've got a great example of successful learning to look at right here, and that's you. You managed to learn your mother tongue without any lessons, and you're really good at it. By the time you were 4 years old, you could talk about the past, the present and the future. You could ask questions, you could use imperatives, negatives, you could name things, and the things you couldn't name, you could describe. Yet nobody gave you a list of irregular verbs to learn, and your mum and dad didn't force you to read the dictionary. Hopefully. So, how's this possible? We're told that if we want to get good at something, we need to work really hard at it. But can you remember making an effort to learn your mother tongue? Children's brains are obviously really good at learning, and science shows us that when children are exposed to language regularly, they learn hundreds of words and grammar rules at the same time through context. If children are exposed to 2 languages in that way, they become bilingual. All of them. But adult brains are great at learning as well. Adults from all backgrounds learn second languages every day, often out of necessity, but also out of choice. So it seems that we have an innate capacity for learning language, and unless something stops us, that can happen with very little effort. It's pretty much the same for adults as it is for children. Not quite as efficient, but really not bad. So although conscious memorization can help some people, the real challenge isn't so much the effort you make, but the amount of activity you can do in that language. In practical terms, this means that if you want to improve your English, you need to expose yourself to as much of it as possible. That might sound tough if you don't know any English speakers, but there are actually a surprising number of interesting and entertaining things that anyone can do in English every day. What things do you do and enjoy that could easily happen in English?